What is up, guys? It's the Sound Alchemist, and once again, I'm sitting here right next to
Kirsch 1.
Oh, very wholesome.
Thank you.
And today we're back to answer your questions in another installment of For the Not So Wholesome.
This is a video series where we answer the questions left by you, the viewers. If you have a question for us, comment down below. Put question in front of your question because we get to those questions first.
Imagine what a wholesome wall would sound like.
Whoa! This question comes from Janica Headland. Sorry for all those headphone users. Which non-canon fact or lore would you like to return in 40K? That's a good question. For me, it has to be female orcs. They used to be a thing. I don't know if it was like straight up from like Rogue Trader that said this, but there used to be some for fantasy. So there are models of female orcs. And it would be interesting for GW to bring back a Bridget B style looking orc, and that make that be the queen orc, and she's on her planet in the orc homeworld of Orc, and she's just the queen bee producing spores through her performances.
So it's like, will there be other females or just that one?
I feel like there should be a couple other ones, but they all have to be in the image of Bridget B.
Because I was thinking of the whole like Smurfs and Smurfette.
I haven't heard that. What is that all about?
You don't know Smurfs, the little blue people?
Yeah.
Yeah, there's only one female and it's Smurfette.
She's the only female, so they all come from her?
Well, I don't know if they all come from her, but there's only one.
Okay.
Yeah.
Kind of like that. Well,
I mean, I don't know. Maybe the Smurf lore has changed and there's more female Smurfs.
But that's why I would want that to come back. That's why I would want to see, like, you know, maybe there is female orcs. Or maybe, like, because there are some species of animals that what they do is if they don't find a mate, they do the asexual reproduction, or they'll switch back from male to female.
It's like orcs, they don't have genitals. They're like fungus animal things.
Yep, they're supposed to be called lichens.
Aren't those werewolves?
Nope. But yes. Did you know Twilight is on HBO?
Oh, interesting. I got to rewatch that again.
Rewatch it.
I don't know. I feel I was going to, like, the lore that was pretty cool and badass, probably I'd say is the, it's a yes and a no. It's the Necrons not having or being those robotic, mindless, no personalities, just an army of undead robots just basically marching through the universe and just tearing everything apart.
Yeah, I understand why Games Workshop made the change, because it's kind of like when you describe them like that, it's like, oh, those are Tyranids. And Tyranids seem to be more badass.
But like Tyranids are more bestial, more primal.
Adaptation and stuff like that.
Whereas these things, it's like the same thing. There's no reasoning with them, but they're so methodical in nature. It's like there's no, like, they're going to kill you regardless. Where like a Lictor is going to stalk you. A Ripper Swarm is obviously going to overwhelm you with numbers. It's like, no, these things don't care what tactics you bring. They're just going to keep walking and keep mowing everything down.
Yeah.
But again, it's like the Silent King, the Void Dragon, freaking Trazy and the Infinite. We wouldn't have all these amazing characters. And it's like, how do you have an HQ and elites and all that without personality? And you wouldn't be able to make them your own because they'd all fit in like that mindless kind of drone mindset. So I could see why they changed that. But it's still pretty cool to have that whole aspect. Maybe just make a dynasty that's just like that and still have others that are not. I don't know. Just a thought.
It has helped humanize the Necrons.
Right.
That's for sure. This question comes from Goblin Man. Bridget B, Sister of Battle? ? Then he has an edit. Is there porn in the Imperium or something akin to it?
Oh yeah, they got whole planets.
Pleasure worlds.
Yeah, which is basically a whole, like, I don't know how they're not Slaneshi, like, tainted. They probably are, but yeah. You got a whole world of like orgies going on.
Yes, sir.
This one is by Boyd Sinclair. So you mentioned that the Tyranids are developing and that the Emperor is becoming a god. But what if they fed on the Milky Way and that the shadow of the warp grew to the point of apotheosis? Do you think it would become a Tyranid warp god of consumption and hunger? That's interesting. Essentially having the shadow of the warp become a manifestation of a god for the Tyranids. It'd be cool, first and foremost. Like having this awesome like Tyranid god reign and give them certain adaptations. Like he could be sending out signals to like Hive Fleet Kraken to go attack this planet so you can get these adaptations. Mm-hmm. That'd be pretty cool. But at the same time, I feel like if you give every race a god, it takes away the epicness of those gods that are already established. But it's still pretty cool nonetheless.
Yeah. I recently did the lore on the Tyranid Hive Fleet. What's the thing with the snake eating its tail?
Ouroboros?
Yeah, the Ouroboros Hive Fleet. And their whole thing was like, my theory is that they are somehow manifesting something better than the Shadow of the Warp. So kind of like what you were saying, I think that it would be better to keep them. It would be badass to have like a demon god that is a Tyranid or a chaos god that is a Tyranid, but I think it is better just to keep them away.
Yeah, because they're already something different than most factions, where they're very animalistic and whatnot. Most other factions have like a sentience, where you do kind of have that with like the Swarm Lord, but it's not like, it's different, I guess.
Yeah.
You get us?
You don't, but you're still watching because you're painting and you're too lazy to switch the channel to Baltimore's Guide to Warhammer 40K. Shame on you.
Yeah. How many of you actually would want that, though? To all the factions, get gods.
Oh, I thought something else. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know, because just
I wouldn't want Gorkum Mork. Like I get it. Like it's like their version of it, but that's it. That's all.
Like imagine like the greater good god.
Oh.
Yeah. And you have like the Necron god, which they're already like enslaving star gods.
Well, I think that's the problem too with the Psychic Awakening. It kind of gave people the false belief that like, oh, now Necrons and Tau, which never have psychics, are gonna something, and they didn't. Right?
No, I mean everybody just got like supplements, and if it wasn't psychic stuff happening, then it was just like another campaign going on.
This question comes from David Damascus. Gershwan, you spelled it wrong. It's 2 words. It's Gursh and then space and then ONE, as in the letter one.
The letter one?
Or the number one. So he says, Gershwan, in a past 40 Facts video, you said you think that the Blood Angels are destined for chaos. It's been more than 3 years since that video. Do you still... Damn, you watched a video from 3 years ago. Congratulations for listening all the way through. Do you still believe that will happen? The lore, yeah, the lore is setting it up. If there ever is an end time, I do think that part of the chapter is going to fall to chaos. And they kind of already have something like that with the Flesh Terrors, I believe, where there is a demon of Khorne who visits each one of them, and right before they become full-fledged Battle Brothers. Is it Battle Brothers or Psychers or Librarians? Either way. And then he basically says, like, join me. I'm Sanguinius. He's not. Or go back and fight for the Emperor. So it's already kind of happening.
Right. And then you have like the whole Red Thirst and the Black Rage, which is pushing them further away from like the Codex, being Codex compliant and overall falling to Khorne. So it definitely is looking that way. However, there's 2 silver linings in that. One, you have, well, I guess you could say 3. You have Dante, who is basically the leader of the southern half of the Imperium. So if they do fall to chaos, having Dante fall would be a huge detriment to the Imperium. Or it would push Dante further to like stand firm in his beliefs, saying like, oh, my chapter fell, but I'm gonna like atone for it. And 2, you have the Sanguinor, which is like, it's an unknown entity that always arrives at the worst time that the Blood Angels find themselves, and he kind of just helps them out of like a rough situation. Is it Sanguinius? Is it a manifestation of like the warp creating this being. Who knows? But maybe that's what's going to stop them from going full chaos. Where if he senses like, oh no, Mephiston is going to turn chaos, Sanguinor comes in, maybe fights him or snaps him out of him or kills him before he can become chaos. Maybe that's a thing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He also went on to say, Alchemist, you're a Blood Angels fan. Do you agree with this assessment?
Yeah, I kind of already answered that. It seems like it's going that route, but I don't think so.
Yeah.
Because if you have another Space Marine chapter of Fall to Chaos, it upsets the balance.
Yep.
So
Especially falls to Chaos to Khorne.
Right.
They would fall to Khorne.
Because then you have the World Eaters and the Blood Angels for Khorne, and it's like you don't really have two major factions in one Chaos God following. You have Renegades that do that, but not full-fledged like chapters.
Right.
Colonel Kablooey. What if the Imperium and the Tau switched places? The Imperium reduced to a small empire, and the Tau as the dominant force against chaos. Given their rapid advancement and lack of influence on the warp, how would they fare?
Who versus who?
So if the Imperium and chaos switched. Or not, the Imperium and the Tau switched.
Oh, we kind of talked about this too when we were talking about 30K, 40K, or 50K, 60K, or 80K.
Yeah, skipping 70K for some reason.
Yeah, that's what he did.
But I think it'd be, one, it would make sense because the way that the Tau have been evolving, it's very rapid and they've been quickly becoming a superpower, whereas the Imperium is declining. They're being besieged on all sides by chaos, Tyranids, Xenos, war, heretics, that they're slowly losing their superpower status and they're becoming more separated and overall a weaker force. But you got the Primaries, so. But yeah, I think seeing these two switch would make sense. The greater good philosophy is very encompassing, where it's like, join us, we'll prosper, each other. Whereas the Imperium, it's like, it's just us. Burn the heretic, burn the Xenos. If you're not human, stay away. And I think that mindset will quickly show who rises and who falls.
Yeah, and then in terms of the game, it changes the game dramatically. The lore, that's what specifically the lore, because if you take the focal point from the Imperium to the Tau, which are basically sci-fi, it's like just Gundam, then the game itself changes. I like to think of it kind of like when you order a meal and you have your main dish. Your main dish is the Imperium, and it is the grim darkness of seeing like slavery, witches, mutants, and abhumans, and all that kind of cool, grotesque stuff that we really like. And then if you want, you can have a side of rice, which is your Tau. Or if you want some, French fries, you can have some, whatever mushrooms. You get your Orcs. But if you ever take that side dish and make it your main dish, then it automatically changes the feel of the entire lore.
Right.
Because you imagine if it was the focal point was, let's say, like the Tyranids, then it just becomes like a straight up 90s alien movie type of game. And I don't think that has the same appeal.
No, definitely not. You see how popular the Space Marines are. And it's like, if that ever happened, people would be up in arms, like, oh, you're following, the space communists, the Tau. Like, what happened to the Space Marines? They were always in the limelight. What happened? So,
yeah, it would be crazy.
That's why Space Marines will always be the focal point.
Always. And forever.
Yeah. Even if they decline to, like, be a lesser superpower, you're still going to be looking at, like, they're the underdog. Let's see how they overcome these obstacles.
And you kind of get to be yourself, too. Because, like, who doesn't want to be a planetary governor that just sits on, like, a hoverboard and, like, gets cherries fed to them?
Cherries?
Cherries. No, I'm just kidding. I don't like cherries. I don't like red fruit.
So no strawberries?
Nope. I don't like strawberries.
Tomatoes?
I like tomatoes, but that's a vegetable.
Beets? Oh, yeah, beets are vegetable.
Yep. This question comes from Steve Rogers.
Captain America?
Yeah. Would the Emperor prefer Coca-Cola or Pepsi? Coke, boy. It's the most popular one all around the world.
Yeah. But Pepsi's got the colors of Captain America, Steve Rogers, with the red, the white, and the blue.
Yeah. I guess it depends on where he is.
On the Golden Throne. Magic Eye has asked, what if there was no Inquisition? There'd be a lot more heresy in the world.
Yeah, the Inquisition was created because of Coach Van Dyer. The whole idea of the enemy within.
Mm-hmm.
So if you don't have that, then I think eventually people would have noticed, like, oh yeah, the God Emperor, like, he's there, but he's not telling us what to do. Let's just take over.
Yeah, it's like, I'll be his mouthpiece. Wink, wink, nudge, nudge.
Yep. It's like, never mind.
Mm-hmm. But, I mean, if there's no Inquisition, that'd mean maybe no Grey Knights, no assassins. What about the Orders? How would the Sisters of Battle fare? Will they be part? They're the same thing with the Grey Knights. They're considered very close with the Inquisition, but they're kind of separate. So,
Kind of, sort of.
yeah, we wouldn't get no Eisenhorn, no Inquisitor Rex, Greyfax.
We wouldn't get the battle between the Tyranids and the Orcs because originally that was an Inquisitor. It was Inquisitor Cryptman who was like, let me take this Gene Stealer brute and throw it at the Orcs and see what happens. The Octavius sector goes into a total war.
But I think those are easily replaceable with like a Space Marine Chapter Master, like doing the same thing.
You think it would be that dumb though?
Yeah, because it's like, well, we need to keep our section of the galaxy protected, like the Ultramarines. I could easily see like an Ultramarine captain like Sicarius or some other captain just taking that Gene Stealer brood, throwing it at the Tyranids and have them fight over there. So they could be safe, keep their people safe, but then have to deal with that later.
And this question comes from Chicken Waffles. When someone dies in 40K universe, will everything just fade to black and then your outro song plays for eternity? No, when someone dies in the 40K universe, they either go to the Army of the Light or they get consumed by chaos. No, that's not true. I don't even know.
It depends, because depending on what race you are, or even what beliefs you have, it's a different. Yeah, like you said, Army of the Light, you join the Emperor's faction. If you're a Tau, you're just dead.
Yeah.
Your sacrifice was for the greater good.
Like us.
Seaway.
See?
But yeah, it depends.
And then next question.
This one's by Digital Sigma. Do you think that the Tau Ethereals are truly using some sort of mind control to enslave the Tau people and control their thoughts? And if so, how aware do you think they are, or do they even know of this mental enslavement? Or is it all just Imperial propaganda to stop people from going to the greater good? Probably yes to all of that. Definitely the Imperium does not want its citizens to join the greater good, because that's less people for tithes, to work the fields, to work the machinery. Overall, less people in the Imperium is a detriment to them, because they need to keep the Imperial war engine running. So that's probably a thing. The enslavement of whether it's pheromone or mind control of the Tau people isn't widely known. It wasn't until Farsight's 3 Ethereals were beheaded and killed that he kind of like snapped out of it and came to a sense, and it's like, whoa, we shouldn't be doing all this for the greater good. There's something greater out there that we should be fighting for.
Okay, Oscar.
Perhaps. But yeah, I think for the most part, no, they don't know. And any Tau that does speak out against it is branded as like a lunatic, or they're spouting chaotical nonsense, and it's just like, purge them, or they don't know what they're talking about, don't listen to them, that kind of thing.
Yep.
And another reason as to why a lot of people believe this is happening is because of the helmets that the Vespids wear. People say it's because of like translation, but it's probably more of like a mind control thing.
Yeah.
Good question though.
Maybe.
Ooh, Jason Kajing. If you can be one of the traitor or loyalist Primarchs, who would you be, and who are you going to pick to be your rival? That's cool.
And it's easy, because every single Primarch has a rival of Leman Russ. Even Leman Russ hates Leman Russ.
Yeah. But let's say you could pick anybody else. Like, let's say you want to be Sanguinius, and you want your rival to be the Emperor. You could do that.
Oh, okay.
I think I'd be Magnus the Red, and my rival would want to be Gaskell, because it'd be like he'd be trying
Brains
to
versus
brains versus brawn. Like, is my psychic might stronger than just throwing hordes of orcs and their probability? So it's like, is smarts better than probability? Brains versus brawn, magic versus might, that kind of thing.
Oh, yeah. I would do Ferris Menace, and the person that I would want to fight is no. I mean, I'm fine with Fulgrim.
You're fine with Fulgrim?
Yeah.
That story was too perfect to change.
It is, and the fact that I get decapitated at the end. I think it's romantic.
It is. It's a very I don't know. Woke, I guess, because it's like you're fighting for your friend, and it's like you allow your friend to see his mistakes through your death, and you allow your legion to think the opposite of what you wanted them to think. Flesh is weak. No, listen to your emotions.
It's just he's confused.
And he's dead.
No. Those were the questions for today. If you guys have more questions for us, please comment down below. Thank you guys so much for listening, and we will talk to you tomorrow.
This is the Sound Alchemist,
Gershwin.
and we are out.
Always used to put my freedom first in any situation.